Kim Kardashian is in some major trouble over an app that she launched back in 2015. The app was being downloaded 9,000 times a second on the release day and made millions of dollars in just minutes. But now there's new drama surrounding the app, and it all has to do with a lawsuit from 2019. This is a lot of information we're about to get into, so just prepare yourself. Kim was sued for at least $100 million back in 2019 from a developer who claimed she caught him out of her Kimoji app. David Libenson was the man who sued her, claiming that after teaming up with her to promote an anti-cyberbullying app he created called Censor Out, she then agreed to work on a new app with him and his partners. He said at the time that he designed the Kimoji app for her based upon an agreement and that him and his partners would take 60% of the profits. He says that he named the app, but that he agreed Kim could register the trademark to keep things simple. But he says that after Kim filed that Kimoji trademark in 2014, she reached out to him claiming that one of his partners had shared information about her and the deal was off now. He claims that Kim was just using that as an excuse to back out of the deal and says that she went on and launched her own Kimojis despite not even coming up with the name. Now, her backing out of that deal with him was in 2014, and at the time of him suing her in 2019, Kim and her team were going around to the press saying that him suing all these years later is absurd. Kim didn't want this to hit public court, and she denied his allegations of screwing him over. And in the end, Kim was awarded nearly $400,000 to cover her attorney's fees and other costs. Now, the reason why this is such a big deal now is because David has now come out with a website that he created called KimKardashianRuinMyLife.com, where he is putting all his receipts from the situation and going into full detail about what happened, claiming Kim ruined his life, saying that he is now sleeping in his car because of this whole lawsuit, and so much more. Now, I saw this going around on TikTok, and at first I was like, what is this website? Am I gonna get a virus? Because I did not know what I was getting into when I was looking at this. But I did click through it, I did read through everything, and I'll share with you guys what it says. When you first go onto the website, it says, Kim K ruined my life, so she can have her face and butt as an emoji. I have nothing to lose now, so I'm laying out the facts. Kim committed fraud to get the Kimoji trademark, plus much more. The full story of his experience is on the website as well, but before going into the full story, he does give a little bit more context to the lawsuit with Kim, how he ended up sleeping in his car and all of that. He said, I've had a few people ask how this left me sleeping in my car, so I should explain. I was all in financially on my projects that were at that time all including her, complicating the situation where the demands she was making for my IP, making all the money I invested in patent, all legal fees wasted. It leveled me financially. Then a divorce and more personal issues followed. I've been sleeping in my car to save money. I never stopped thinking about what I can do to hold them accountable and get my life back. I have had a few opportunities since then, but I haven't been able to gain any traction. The looming $400K debt and the whole mess has caused a chain of events I haven't been able to dig out of yet. I spent my life busting my butt for that seed money. The lawsuit was mishandled by my ex-attorney, who added this case to his bio on his website after there was no resolution. At the end of the show lawsuit, the Kardashian team had the option to hit me with legal fees from arbitration I was never a part of somehow. They used that to threaten to take assets or garnish wages if I didn't keep my mouth shut. Now, I don't care if they come after me financially if there's nothing left to take. They won't come after me for the $400K legal fees if I keep my mouth shut. Since the last attorney oddly had me voluntarily withdraw the lawsuit, I can still refile. It would just cost hundreds of thousands or more to fight. I've been told there's so many angles to this, from copyright, trademark, trade secret, misappropriations, fraud, swindle, and more violations. They simply have endless funding for attorneys. The stress from this case tore my family apart. And then he goes on to give the full backstory of how he met Kim, how they plan to work together, the ideas that he brought to him, the whole thing. Kim and Chris in their most blatant ideas / theft yet. I'm building the site on my iPhone and trying to gain momentum for this in my spare time while working 2 jobs and camping in my car. Please share. There are quite a few exhibits of evidence. I'll add a whole section to this site for emails, texts, screenshots, original art for emojis, a recording, and over 20 individuals that had involvement and be witnesses. This all started when Kardashian was using our app we had on the Apple app store named Sensorgram. On Sensorgram, you can add keywords, emojis, or phrases that you want automatically removed from your Instagram comments. Kim obviously had a need for it. She used our app and reached out to me by phone to discuss being the face as well as partner. Then a few weeks later, we met and made the initial partnership agreement at Chris's house in Calabasas, California. After that is when it all got weird. I lost everything while Kardashian went on to make millions off an idea she had nothing to do with creating. She also interfered with a patent I had filed for a process that now is used by Instagram to automatically remove comments on social media. Kardashian never explained her part in the interference or why she discussed our IP with Kevin Systrom, ex-CEO of Instagram, without permission, after her and her team signed our NDA to get our patent filed. At that time, Instagram had no intention of using automated comment control. Then, less than 18 months after Kardashian's interference, our process is in Instagram's settings. Myself or my partners received nothing for any of it yet. He then goes on to share what it was like when he had that meeting in Calabasas at Chris's house and even included a screenshot of the meeting plans. And he wrote, Kim can win an award for her acting job with the other partner, Narayan. In 2014, the face-to-face meeting for Sensorgram was in Calabasas, and at this point, she's never even heard the name kimoji or thought of herself as an emoji. Emojis weren't as big as they are now, keep in mind. All went well for the Sensorgram part. We discussed shares, what platforms we want to bring this to, legal stuff like us getting them our file with our provisional US patent info for the process we created, etc., etc. Her team signed our NDA for that. The importance of this comes up when we talk more about Sensorgram later. Then at the end of the meeting, we pitched the mock-up kimojis, and Kim absolutely loved the idea. Kimoji became all that mattered. We agreed to split 50-50 on kimoji. After the meeting, we received a call and were told by Kim's team that we needed to be coached to handle working with an A-list celebrity. This gets extra scandalous during this few-week period of time following the meeting. My family and I are on cloud 9 with the thought of our new agreement with Kim and all the success we'd have together. Then out of the blue, Kim contacts us and asked if we trademark Kimoji, and everything was good, but that they would go ahead and do that to be helpful. Literally 5 minutes later, Kim calls and is shocked, asking, "Who's Ryan?" and all distraught. Apparently, without my knowledge, one of our partners took a picture of some words on a page that Kim used in our Sensorgram app. No user handle or private info. Just a little clip of a screenshot to brag, privately between him and a friend. Well, this friend was jealous and actually had a friend in Chicago that knew someone in Kim and Kanye's world. Narayan's friend, Alice Grodesky, is friends with Gene Brusilowski, and he's close to Jonathan Chebin, who is obviously friends with Kim. They intentionally sent the screenshot in hopes it would interfere. It did. Gina admitted to this at a party in Chicago and how it was done intentionally to hurt Narayan, potentially, and disrupt the partnership with Kardashian. Kim backed out and threatened to sue us for $5 million if we didn't hand over Kimoji rights and give her the ability to do her own comment control app, which blocked our patent hopes. The Kimoji trademark was filed by Kim's company 5 minutes after her staged phone call. So to be clear, she called us and asked if we trademarked Kimoji, stating all is a go-ahead, sounding excited. Then 5 minutes later, after her team secured the trademark, she called us asking who is Ryan and why he is spreading her info, which nothing of that sort was ever done. This is fraud through and through. She's gotten away with it until now because she's incredibly wealthy. Aside from this, a few years later, we noticed Instagram added the process we created for Sensorgram to their settings. After their CEO at the time, Kevin Systrom, told Kim clearly they wouldn't use that type of comment control. Kim, Kanye, and the former IG CEO used to hang out. There's media out there of them all. Kanye at the time was wanting to fix Instagram. This is all why it's extra shady, because of that relationship and them going to IGHQ to discuss this. She's never answered for any of this. He also included a screenshot of Jonathan Chebin talking to Sensorgram. I don't really know why he included this, but he threw this in here. He then goes on to say that the Kardashians have done this before, saying Kim and Kris have used this tactic of taking ideas before. There's so much going on in this mess of a story, so please hang in there and check back. Shortly after we noticed Instagram using our process, we found some alarming evidence in our old emails. Remember when Kim called us asking who's Ryan and why is he sending her info around Chicago? Well, she damn well knew who Narayan was. I introduced him in the email as Ryan, and she replied, "Nice to meet him as Ryan." Several instances back then, their team referred to Narayan as Ryan, so that means she knew of this before we signed their NDA at the meeting in California. She kept this in her pocket to use against us and lured us in to get our comment control app, Sensorgram. Then she got kimoji too and wasn't even expecting that part. I'll add more about our last attorney, Robert Hatman, but he told me to withdraw the lawsuit and trying to see where arbitration goes. Nowhere, that's where. And no one knows why Hansman suggested that. I went in depth over the lawsuit, so now I'm getting creative and I won't shut up about it. He then goes into detail about how he feels like Kim stole from him and how scared he was when her lawyers contacted him. When I was researching past cases, I reached out to them all, and all were bound by confidentiality. We had several emoji projects already started before we met Kim, Wall Street emojis, and a sexy emojis app. So we just took some existing images and then did some of her, Chris, and Kanye for fun to see if they'd like the idea. Kimoji was just a side project idea we added to impress her. We figured she would be excited to see it and do the project while we developed Sensorgram. I'll elaborate more on how that turned into the Kimoji idea later today. Back to the fraud for the Kimoji trademark. So because Kim didn't want to partner, she used the harmless screenshot meant to be private to threaten us and cause internal turmoil. We had no idea what was going on. The threatening letter from Martin Singer's office had me shaking as I had something to lose then. The threat made it seem like we really messed up. With all the parties involved, it took a bit to understand what they were even talking about. Come to find out, a different attorney I had look at this said the statute they said we supposedly violated in the threat from Singer wasn't applicable to what we supposedly even did. This whole thing was a complete show, and Kardashian Jenner made tons of money for years off of it. I lost everything. She could have said, in light of this thing with Narayan, I'd like to part ways and buy the Kimoji trademark. Done and done. We would have walked and kept pushing our Sensorgram app. Without securing the patent for the process, it was dead. Then the entire investment was gone. Legal fees for this and the patent was wasted. Personal issues and lack of funds stemming from all this has made a comeback refiling of the lawsuit incredibly hard. Hearing Kanye's song Facts, where he says, plus Kimoji just shut down the app store, we made $1 million a minute, it's really tough to avoid getting triggered when they are everywhere on TV and music. On to Sensorgram and how Kim interfered with a talk we had with a shark from Shark Tank, the TV show. She said she knew this person personally and would talk to them. I have the email proving this, putting her on the spot, but it also includes the shark, so I may hold off on adding that name for now. As of right now, you guys, that's what David has put on his website. That is his full story as of right now as to what the heck went down between him and Kim. He's obviously claiming that Kim was doing some shady stuff. I'm just gonna say that this is all that he is saying. I'm not saying this is 100% fact. I'm not saying that this is all true. I'm just reading straight from his website what he is claiming about Kim. There's a ton of people who have also been seeing this going around on TikTok and have been wanting to send him money to help him out. So he's got a bunch of contacts on this website, and people have been sending him money in hopes that they can kind of help him sue the Kardashians all over again. But this whole thing is just wild, and not much has been said about it except on TikTok. So I really want to know what you guys think about this whole website in the comments below. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.